Good morning. Welcome to ONNtv Mornings with Luann and Tim. It's Thursday.
And it's sunny.
It's so sunny.
It's so sunny.
Man, it cooled down overnight, didn't it?
Luann, I went to bed last night and I opened my windows.
Me too.
Did you wake up? I was freezing this morning.
I was putting my makeup on and I was
got out of the shower. I was like,
I know, right?
But that's okay. Comfortable. Well,
almost. Gosh, you know what? It was too hot for too long. I know you don't like it when people say that.
I don't
but
like
it's
that.
true.
No, I'm one of those people who doesn't like it when you say that.
You know what? Humidity just is not good for me.
Well, suck it up. You know what?
It turns me into someone else.
You want to know humidity? Try living in Florida in July and August.
No, thank you.
And I went down when I was living in Florida. I drove my car down there from Ontario. No air conditioning. I had a little white Nissan Micra with no air conditioning and a black interior. Oh my gosh!
Why'd you go there?
I was
to work.
Working. And so then I remember
that one time you worked. Wow.
Listen,
that's
lady,
the time he had a job.
I've had a career in my day. Just not anymore.
It's not today.
No.
He had it in the day, but it's not today.
Well, because now we're talking about all we're sitting before the show. And one of our guests this morning is Christopher he's from the Boy Scouts. He's not a Boy Scout, he's a leader. He's a troop
from the Scouts.
Leader. From the Scout.
Yes.
Oh, we don't call them Boy Scouts in Canada because we are
girls and boys can
there's a word for that.
Both be Scouts.
I just don't know what that word is because it's too early in the morning and I don't have a thesaurus. But anyway, what was it saying? Oh, we were telling him stories about how all of our medical issues that we have. Luann's seeing a chiropractor. I'm going today to see a chiropractor. And he says, what do you guys do around here?
I said, we don't do very much. We're old. That's the problem.
Well, never mind.
Right
I do yoga and belly dancing and pole dancing. I do a lot. You, on the other hand.
I drink wine.
And she's typing the news. Oh, my life is so typing the news. I got to read and type, and I got to talk too. Oh!
It's so hard for me to talk.
The hardest part of your day is doing your eye makeup.
Yes, gosh. Well, they're getting saggy, right?
No,
everything's sagging. So even the eyelids, I gotta go.
I can't imagine doing my makeup at 4:45 in the morning.
I can't even see my eyes. Seriously, it's like, what are you doing? Like as if. So sometimes I come in and my eyeshadow is like way up over. That's why I had bangs to hide.
I think you look lovely.
Well, thank you.
Well, you're no monster.
Well, thank you. That's nice.
It's a segue, Luann.
Okay, what's the segue for?
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein? Why Frankenstein, Tim?
Because August the 30th is Frankenstein Day.
When is it?
August the 30th.
Okay, so today.
Frankenstein Day.
So what does that mean?
Oh!
Frankenstein.
What?
It's Frankenstein.
It's pronounced Frankenstein.
That thing scared me. That was
Gene Wilder from Young Frankenstein. Funny. But no, okay, so here's why it's Frankenstein Day. Mary Shelley, the author of the novel Frankenstein, was born on August the 30th, 1797.
Holy, she looks good for her age.
I know, but listen, here's the most remarkable thing. I had no idea. That novel, Frankenstein, right?
17.
Famous. She was 21 years old when she wrote Frankenstein in 1818. Now, even just imagine a female author.
Seriously, and getting it published.
I know.
But did she do anything else after
Mary
Frankenstein?
Shelley? Yes, she did.
What?
I don't know, stuff. She typed the news and read the news.
Okay, there's there's
other things that she did. But anyway, it is Frankenstein Day.
Frankenstein Day.
So, and it's also National Marshmallow Toasting Day.
Thank goodness.
And it says the origins unknown. And I thought, well, you know what? I'll bet National Marshmallow Toasting Day coincided with Frankenstein Day because remember when the villagers all went with their torches to burn down the castle?
Yes.
There they are. They probably brought marshmallows with them too. So there you go. They had a lovely.
There you go. Marshmallows.
Look, they marshmallows. Yeah,
and you know what? I bet marshmallows were a fluke recipe because so many recipes are. Because it's actually just meringue that's like whipped up to a frenzy, and then it's just cooked and cut. Back in the day.
To a frenzy.
Because you can do your own marshmallows at home. Yes, you can.
Is that how it was? Because now it's gelatin.
Yes,
They make marshmallows
yeah.
with gelatin now.
But back in the 1800s, when those guys had the torch things happening there was
Yes,
no
they all went
gelatin.
to Frankenstein's castle
Yeah.
with torches and marshmallows.
And a pack of Jell-O.
And I think I'll maybe National Marshmallow Day because it's the last weekend of August. You know, we're getting ready for Labor Day, so maybe this is the weekend of toast your marshmallows, people. But if you're going to have a bonfire, now the smoking ban has been lifted in our area.
Just in time.
You need to have a fire permit.
Yes, don't forget. It's
All
only
right.
$5. Like, seriously? And I
Seriously?
think, I'm not 100%, but I think you can even do it online. So that's worth researching.
Oh, I
Check
thought
it
they had
out.
to come and
Google
say-
it. Say,
Google.
Tim said
But-
I could get.
But really, people, with all of the forest fires that we've had, please, 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 if you're going to have fires this weekend, please be careful.
Oh my
Because it's going to be sunny
gosh.
for the next couple of days. Things will
Yes.
dry out again. And in British Columbia now, they're saying they have to actually rethink their entire strategy for climate change.
Yes.
Because the size of the fire that they had was not predicted for at least 20 more years.
So now they're just,
Now they're going,
affected
okay.
the environment and the water and obviously the air.
And I think they're also
everything.
saying we were expecting a fire
Yes.
this size 20 years from now. So obviously climate change has advanced that much more rapidly than we anticipated. So yes,
Be
please
very, very careful. Because
Yeah.
some of those forest fires, of course, are started by human beings who just aren't being careful. It's not like, I'm assuming, they go out there and say, oh, look, it's nice and dry. Toss a match in there.
No.
You know, it's accidental. So be very, very
Cigarette
careful.
butts,
But
campfires.
you know what I saw this morning?
What did you see this morning?
Honestly, I have a hard time talking about it because it's such a beautiful video. It's the most beautiful thing on Twitter today.
It's not.
There's a little
McCain.
girl.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was about Meghan McCain crying at her father's
Oh
casket.
gosh, no, that was heartbreaking. That was heartbreaking. This little girl
Yes.
is, Dad's got her set up at a table and he gives her a box. Mom comes to sit beside her and the camera's in front of her. So he sits beside her and he says, okay, go ahead and open the box. So she opens the box and there's this paper that comes out. And there's this paper that comes out. And then there's another paper that comes out. And she has no clue because it's not her birthday. It's not an occasion. She has no idea. She picks up this frame and it says, congratulations, you are finally ours. As of today, you have been adopted by us.
I just got goosebumps everywhere.
Flipped out. She
Had she been a foster
broken.
child?
Yes, she just.
I think Will's crying behind the camera right
and
now.
the parents, oh my gosh, they're hugging her, and I'm trying to think of what on earth it could be telling her. Can you imagine that? What an awesome, beautiful thing. Twitter is not all bad. It's good. Such a
love that.
lovely story.
I'm all verklempt
I know. Isn't that
Coffee
beautiful?
talk amongst yourselves, I'm verklempt. I can't even.
Yes, right? Isn't that lovely?
I
like a
know.
man, and she's like, say, 9, 10 years old. So she knows enough and maybe has been through stuff because that's, you know, as you're watching this, it's just beautiful, beautiful video this morning to start your day. So check it out on Twitter. She's a dolly.
And if you happen to live in the United States of America, there are probably a lot of, I think there's still 500 children who don't have parents who've been separated from at the border that are going to be
Yes.
looking for families.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Still
There's
like
that whole other
500
issue.
kids.
What an awesome gift to get and receive adoption,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
You get the child and the love, and you give nothing but good things.
Luann,
Yes.
will you and Jim adopt me?
No, not for a second. Forget about it.
I'd open the box and there'd be a piece of paper, and another piece of paper, and another piece of paper, and I'd take out a frame that says, "Get the heck out of our lives."
I've had enough of my little babies.
Listen, we're going to come back with more this morning. We've got a couple of lovely guests. Well, actually, one live guest and one dead one. No, just kidding. That'll be a sick
We're after
interview.
the ratings.
It'll
What
be-
can we tell you?
Exactly. No, Christopher's up first. Maltais, I think is
Maltais.
Maltais. From Espanoodle.
For a Espanoodle.
And he is with the Scouts.
So we'll talk to him.
And then later on, I have a taped interview with a local woman who's gone on to, wow, author, entrepreneur, and executive producer of films. Shari Moss is on the show this morning as well, talking about her books and her career. So, lots more on Mornings with her and me, Luann and Tim, right after this.
Her.
So we are back in the studio with Christopher Maltais. Thanks for joining me this morning, Christopher.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're a Scout leader.
Yes.
Tell me about how you first got involved with scouting. It was back in, were you in Espanola at the time?
I was. It was 1992, I believe.
Okay.
And my parents wanted me to get into something. I was very shy when I was younger.
Were you?
They wanted me to get into something to make a few friends.
Right.
So I went and I went to the registration night at the beginning of September.
Now, was this for Scouts or was this for
This was for Scouts. So I would have been about 11 or 12 years old.
Okay.
And Jack and Shirley Burley were the first Scout leaders that I had.
Jack and Shirley Burley. I love
Yes.
those names.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure that I would like it at the time, so they told me, well, try a few meetings, which is still the thing today, is we tell kids, you have the opportunity to try 2 or 3 meetings, see how you like it, and then if it works out, then you register and join the group. So they they said, just try a few, and I ended up, that was in 1992, and I'm still with the organization today. So I give my parents credit for getting me into the organization, and Jack and Shirley Burley for kind of sticking with me and staying, you know, you'll enjoy it once you get it started.
Yeah.
So.
Now, Jack and Shirley, you say that you've kept in touch with them?
I did, yes. They are down in Southern Ontario now.
They moved south, yeah?
Yeah, but yeah, kept in touch with them, and as I do with a lot of friends that I've met in the past through Scouts.
And you told me before the show, you're actually going to see them?
Yeah, I'm going to stop in to visit them this coming weekend. Haven't seen them in a few years.
That is
But, yeah,
so
it'll be nice.
cool.
Yeah.
After all these years that you keep in touch like that, they obviously were a major influence.
They were.
Yeah. So tell me then, what did you get out of scouting for yourself? I mean, what did it give to you that made you think, I want to stay with this and give this to other kids as well, give this experience to other kids as well?
So there's a lot of learning. You do a lot of outdoor stuff. It's one of the organizations that we're going to go out camping. We're going to go out learning how to use a compass and map in the bush. We're going to, I've done shelter building, hiking. There's such a broad range of activities that we do, and it's for such a broad age group as well.
Oh, that's something. I'm going to talk about that because as I said, I really know so little about the entire Cub Scout. Cubs. So it's Beavers, Cubs, Scouts, and then Venturers.
Yes, Venturers, and then Rovers is the senior section.
Holy smokes.
And a lot of Rovers are leaders as well.
Okay.
So.
Now, and I didn't know this either, that you can join at any level. I mean, probably not the Ventures and the Rovers, right?
Yes.
You can join there.
We have had Ventures in the past, so Beavers is 5 to 7 years old.
Okay, I remember the Beavers, and I'll tell you why I remember the Beavers is because when I was a little kid, when I was about 12 years old, I had a ventriloquist puppet, and one time the Beavers brought me in to perform a little show for all the little Beaver kids. So I knew that they were Beavers, and I knew that they were little, and they're cute, huh?
Yeah.
How old are they?
5 to 7.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then after the next level up is?
So then you go to Cub Scouts, which is 8 to 11 years old.
Then I was afraid to join Cub Scouts because I heard you had to memorize something to say at the beginning of the meetings, and that I didn't want to memorize. Funny that I became an actor for a living and I memorized lines, but when I was that little, it intimidated me.
It can be. I mean, each section has their own promise and law. So, and motto as well. So there's something that to live up to with each group. And it teaches all the kids right from a young age how to have responsibility, things you can do outside of the organization as well.
Oh,
so,
like volunteerism and that
exactly,
kind of stuff, how you can give back. What are the mottos? What are the qualities that you look for? I mean, when you are a Scout, you are...
So Beavers is sharing, sharing, sharing.
Yeah,
so it's a simple motto for the younger kids. When you move up to Cubs, it's do your best. Scouts, which is 11 to 14 years old, is be prepared.
Yes.
So it's being prepared. You know what, when you go on a camping trip and you forget your mess kit, which is your plate, bowl, knife, fork, spoon, you forget your plate. Well, you find something else. So you're innovative. When you move up to Ventures, the motto is challenge. So the Ventures run their own program.
Oh, wow.
So I'm a venture advisor, but we're there just to make sure they follow the rules and give them guidance. So they're there to challenge themselves to do something a little bit more, and at that age they try and give back.
Okay.
So some of them become an assistant leader with other groups. And then the rovers are the oldest section, and their motto is service.
Ah.
So that's why a lot of them become leaders as well. So they're rovers where they're going to do extreme activities. I know our group in town, they did a big canoe trip this past summer. And then besides their own activities, they're giving back to the community.
Cool.
So.
See, now you're raising fine young individuals through these organizations. So when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the activities that you do and how people can get involved in our community. If you have a child at home that you'd like to get out and maybe socialize a little more and benefit from being involved in the organization, we'll talk about that when we return. So stay with us. We'll be right back on Mornings with Luann and Tim. Done, sir.
Thank you.
Talking with Christopher from the Scouts. And Christopher, we were talking about your family, that it's your whole family's involved.
They are, yeah.
Tell me about that.
So I've been involved long before I had a family. But
yeah, 1992.
92, yeah.
Oh, but you mean, were you a leader before you had a family?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. A lot of leaders join when their kids join. I joined when I moved here to go to college.
Oh,
so,
wow. Nice guy.
So I'm going into my 20th year as a leader.
As a leader?
Yeah.
Always at the level of Scout, or did you lead younger troops before?
So I've been in Cubs, Scouts, and Venturers.
Ah, okay. And now, as you say, you're an advisor for Venturers now, or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, counselor kind of. All right, so tell me about your family then.
So I have two sons, 11 and 13.
Yeah.
And they started in Cubs. And they went through the Cub program. And my older son went through Scouts and is now starting Venturers. And my younger son is going into his second year of Scouts.
So I was asking you during the break about when they go into Venturers. So when you move up to the next level, sort of thing. Let's talk about the different names, because he was teaching me the names of the packs. So when you're a beaver, you're part of a colony.
Yes.
When you're a cub,
Yeah.
you're part of a pack.
Yeah.
Okay, because
that's two for two.
Because that's like the wolves, right? Your wolf pack, and you have an Akela, who's your leader, because like the Jungle Book, and then Scouts is a troop.
Yes.
Then there's Venturers.
Yes.
Oh, this is a hard one. Venturers, it's not a company. Is it a company?
It is.
Oh my gosh, it's a company.
4 for 4.
And then, what's the last one?
Rovers.
Rovers are you got me.
Crew.
They're a crew of rovers. There's a test after the show, ladies and gentlemen.
4 for 5.
When you move up to the next sort of age group level, do you often find that there are other kids coming with you that you've been in other groups with, other troops and packs?
Yes, for sure. So if you've started in a younger section, a lot of them, especially if you're in the same year, because each group you're 3 or 4 years before you move up to the next one.
It's gotta create such a sense of camaraderie.
It does.
And teamwork. I mean, you learn all these things.
Yes, for sure. And that's a big one for the Scout age, is we teach them you have to work together as a team in order to accomplish a goal.
Right.
So if it's something you can't do by yourself, you need help from a few other people. We went to a national jamboree in Nova Scotia last summer.
How cool was that, to go all the way out to Nova Scotia?
It was. We were one of 2 groups in town that attended. And it was a week-long camping trip.
A week?
Yeah, with 9,000 people.
Oh, there's some pictures. Look, Christopher.
Yeah. So one of the pictures there is our group. As we crossed the border from New Brunswick to Nova Scotia, this was our group of Scouts.
Wow. So, how did you get out there? Look at that. How many people were there, too?
That was actually the picture. There's one of Rendezvous, which is a year-end camp in May.
Yeah.
And that's a Northern Ontario camp. But for the Nova Scotia Jamboree, there were 9,000 people.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. What are the qualities that you say that a Scout has? They are kind, courteous. What are they?
So the Scout law is Scout is kind and cheerful, considerate and clean, wise in the use of all resources, helpful and trustworthy. So all of those are attributes that we try and teach the kids and try and instill in the values.
Who wouldn't want their son or daughter to have those kinds? And by the way, what is the term now that Scouts is for everybody, boys and girls. There's a
Co-ed.
It's co-ed. That was not a
Yes.
hard word. I couldn't think of that at 8 o'clock in the morning.
A lot of people still don't realize that we've been co-ed for about 20 years.
What?
The older sections always were, the Ventures and Rovers.
Always co-ed.
But the Beavers, Cubs, and Scouts went co-ed in 98 or 99.
I had no idea. How progressive. And how many different groups do we have in town? Do you know? Like,
Yeah, there's 5 groups in town.
okay.
So there's 4 in and then 1 in Echo Bay, in Bar River.
Okay. And how often do they get together?
We try and get together probably, I would say, 3 or 4 times a year for different camps.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how do people get involved then if they want to know more? How do they reach out to you?
Probably the easiest way now, everything is online.
Yes.
So www.scouts.ca.
Oh, that's easy.
That's an easy website, so they can go in if they're interested in a certain group in town. You can punch in your postal code, and it'll kind of guide you to the closest.
Come on.
Yeah.
Talk about easy, right? And then you said even for your uniforms and stuff, you used to have a shop in town, but with downsizing, it's moved to Toronto, but
Yes.
everything's available online.
Everything's available, yeah. So you can get your uniform. We do, for the Cubs, they do Cub cars, which I'm sure a lot of people have seen in the Station Mall in the past.
Yes.
Races, and we do Scout transport races. So all those things we can now order online.
Fantastic.
And
And then volunteerism, that's a big part of it as well, isn't it, Christopher?
yes, I mean, you have to enjoy spending time and giving your time in order to go on the camps and even the weekly meetings, because there is time that you have to take out of your own day. So it's a great group of leaders that we have in Sault Ste. Marie, and everybody gets along. When we organize a camp, everybody plays a certain role in organizing the camp and making it a good weekend for everybody.
Well, I want to thank you again for coming in. Like I said before the show, I knew nothing about this other than the fact that they're certainly a worthwhile organization.
It is, and you know, all the camps that we go to, we have an international one coming up in 2 weeks that we go to across the river.
Is that called a jamboree?
That is an International Scout Rally.
Oh, it's a rally.
Yeah, but it's same idea.
Okay.
And that one we have anywhere from 600 to 800 people for a weekend.
And that's Ontario and the Upper Peninsula? Or what?
Yes.
Yeah.
And, well, and all of Michigan, some of Wisconsin as well.
Wow.
So it's an exciting camp that our kids here can go and they can see that scouting's not just in Sault Ste. Marie or Ontario, that it's worldwide. It's a worldwide organization. So to see groups from Michigan, Wisconsin, other states, and all get together, and you're there for the same reason. You're there to have fun. You're there because you enjoy being in Scouts, and you make friends that a lot of friends, I consider friends in scouting, you might only see once a year at a camp, but they're not acquaintances, they're friends, even though you might only see them once a year.
So well done. Thank you very much. I've enjoyed talking with you.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
And you're going to send me some Scouts and some Cubs maybe at some point, because
Yes,
I'd actually like to talk to the kids about their experiences as well.
Yeah, well, and I know my boys have had fun, and my wife is involved with our group
she?
committee. So yeah, my whole family is involved, as are a lot of other families as well.
Wow.
So
All right. Well, Christopher Maltais,
yes,
thank you so much for joining us from the Scouts.
Thank you.
And you have the information. If you want to get involved, you know how. And if you're a volunteer and you want to work with the youth, once again, it's www.scouts.ca.
Yeah.
And we'll be back with more after this. You know, in retrospect, I think I would have made a darn good Cub Scout. Not Cub Scout, Scout. They're not Cub Scouts, because now it's... Yes, I would have, because I'm all of those things. I'm courteous, I'm kind.
Pardon?
I'm courteous and kind!
Okay.
Gosh.
What else?
I'm tidy. Clean. Clean was a big thing.
Clean was a big thing.
I'm very, actually, I probably would have been a really lousy scout, because I would have been always like, I don't like having dirty.
I know, I'm the same.
We'd all go camping and I'd have like wet wipes.
Yeah, la 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 la.
Get sweeping out
I
the tent.
heard a rumor.
Whose rumor was it?
You know what? Apparently, Neil Young,
I know him.
the Neil Young,
Isn't he from around here?
yeah, married Daryl Hannah. Can you imagine that?
Come on.
They've been dating since 2014. He left his wife of 36 years. Now, I don't
No,
have...
he did not.
He did. They've been dating since 2014, he and Daryl, and it's a rumor. It's not substantiated, but his guitarist congratulated them on his website, and the administrator of Neil's blog said, yeah, it happened, and congratulations.
Neil Young
And Daryl Hannah.
and the Mermaid.
The Mermaid. Who would have thought?
Did,
What do they talk about, I wonder?
What the age difference?
Uh-huh.
What am
Well,
I
there's
talking
that.
about?
You know all about that, don't you then?
So, Daryl, but have you seen her lately? She's not,
Well, she's
does she still act?
she actually directed a movie that he was in apparently last year.
Neil Young
No,
was in
not a movie. I'm sorry.
A video.
A Netflix series.
Neil Young was in it. I'm
Yeah.
so out of the loop then.
Yeah, apparently you are. That's why you have me here.
To keep me informed
Yes,
of all the
about Neil
important
Young.
things in life about Neil Young and Daryl Hannah.
Can you imagine?
So she's Daryl Young.
She's Daryl Young.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a picture of her. You were saying how to...
Yeah.
She's aging.
Yeah, well, so are we all, Luann.
Right. You know what? It's better than the alternative.
She has
Dirt
a-
naps are really long.
Can I
Long.
dirt naps?
Yeah.
Can I tell you also that Daryl Hannah is a naturally beautiful woman and she's aging naturally. She has not had work done.
That's right. She's gorgeous. She's
Without
stunning.
work. So
And
you see-
she's still working in the industry on her own terms.
She's
Good
not
for
like,
her.
hi, I'm Daryl
Yeah.
Hannah, and I'm going. Yeah. Well, when
Yeah,
you,
no, you're
but
fine.
then there's Neil Young, who could use a little help as
Just
far
a
as I'm
touch.
concerned. Yeah.
Like shampoo and a comb.
Spend your money in the right place. I'd rather see a new face get out of an old car.
Okay. On that, we'll be back on Mornings with Luann and Tim right
And
after
Shari
this.
Moss coming up.
Shari Moss. Coming up.
I am very happy to be welcomed to the studio right now, Shari Moss. Shari is an author, entrepreneur, and an executive film producer. Shari, welcome to ONNtv and Mornings with Luann and Tim.
Thank you, Tim. Nice to be here.
So you were kind enough to provide me with with copies of your books.
Yes.
Books, plural.
Yes.
I enjoyed them immensely.
Good.
Both very different, actually. Different
Yes.
approaches to one to customer service and another to sort of mentoring.
Yes.
But really all about that entrepreneurial spirit, about having pride in what you do, learning how to find resources, learn where your
Yes.
assets are.
Yes.
A lot of sort of strength-based stuff.
Very much so. Not just on yourself, building the strength for yourself. Where you're going to take it after that to help others, right?
So you were originally from Sault Ste.
Yes.
Marie, sort of a California, the Sioux, and
Yes.
grew up here.
Pretty much, yeah. This is my home base. I have a lot of family here. Yeah.
Nice. And
Yes.
then tell me a little bit about the story about how you ended up, your progression sort of from working in well, what would you say, in sales, I guess?
Yes.
Even in clerical, you sort of started, didn't
Oh,
you?
yeah, absolutely. And part of what you'll find in the books is if you really, really want to get as far as you dream to get, I believe everybody should start at a very base level and learn as much as they can about whether it's the operation, the company, the type of business, whatever it is. So yes, early 80s, mid 80s, I knew that I was going to be in sales, some form of sales or marketing, and took a job as receptionist in a wonderful environment to do that, to learn and grow. They were growing.
And in your book, you mentioned going from receptionist, you were able to make a lot of different contacts, and you were
Absolutely.
able to find out who were the go-to people at all these different businesses that you were dealing with, and then you could arrange to meet with these people as well and sort of get a feel for what everybody did.
Absolutely, and that's the head down and focus and get the work done. You can imagine that it was the 80s, it was a man's world, and the market I was premiering into was wire and cable. Does not sound, very romantic, but it really was. It was governed by a lot of the good old boys. So what do? You put your head down, you get to work, you learn as much as you can, you make your contacts. And talk to as many people as you can, because why? You're learning from them, right? How to do your job. So I did move quickly into inside sales, customer service, outside sales, sales management, marketing, across Canada, because you know pretty soon you're working in different places in that job within the same company, and you're doing a good job. So.
And then that led to you becoming a business owner, an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You started off as partners, I believe, with
Yes.
your husband, your ex-husband.
That's right. We were both in the same business and then within the same corporation. We were essentially an unbeatable team. We both had the same drive and ambition and work ethic. He had his strengths, I had mine, so it was a fabulous partnership. The opportunity came to do this on our own.
Yes.
We knew we could. It's still a gamble. It's still a bit of a, by now it's the early 90s.
Okay.
So, you know, we're still young, and but we did. We worked very, very hard. 6 days for me, 7 for him in the beginning to establish it, which we did. The first book starts way back there because, you know, we were a distributor. So to be a successful distributor in any business, you have to offer something, right? Some extra value to the customer, and that ours was superior customer service.
Which leads us to the first book, which is
Yes.
called Dance with Your Customer.
That's right. Be ready to dance with your customer.
I love the title.
Good.
I do, because it is, as you say, the relationship that you have with your clients is
Yes.
very much a dance.
It is absolutely. The dance that I refer to here in the title is not the dance with you and your client, it's the dance you do together.
Together.
In your business for the client. Actually, Jim Donald loved the title as well. He uses the acronym DANCE. Jim Donald is, he's named one of the top 25 CEOs in the world, notably Starbucks CEO for about 8 years.
I wonder, because there's a lot of references to cappuccinos and lattes.
Well, he actually is endorsed the second book. But
Yeah.
he was captivated by the book as well. He uses dance as his acronym. You can imagine he works with a lot of young people too.
Yes.
So that's the idea behind this. It's really a very simple yet very effective fundamental process of steps that I think everybody should use if they're
Simple, but sadly not obvious.
true. Very true.
This book in particular, having come from a service background, both in retail and in restaurants, and being a manager and supervisor at different
Yes.
times, I would say this is a book, if I could give this to a staff and say, you need to read this,
Yes.
I would. I believe it's a great, it's a workbook. It's a,
Yes.
and what's interesting in here, you also have sort of fill in the blanks. It's almost like exercises a little bit, but it's all about just thinking things through, and then you can compare your thought process with somebody who's been
Absolutely.
in the business,
Absolutely.
has succeeded very
Absolutely. That business I talked about us beginning in the 90s, yes, became incredibly lucrative. It was, we did take ownership of what we were attempting to do. In the last few years ago, it actually sold to, it became wireless telecom. I should actually go back a little bit and say wire and cable is the old way. We stepped into this when it became wireless telecommunications. Okay, so my
Whole new market
clients
opening up.
were whole new market. My clients were Nortel and primarily.
Wow.
We branched out from there eventually, but it sold a few years ago to a rather large company who wanted to take that on and keep moving with it. It was
That would explain why you
yes.
now have, pardon me, I just spittled. That would
Yes.
explain why you,
I
I'm
have
very
so
honest,
much
Shari.
else going on.
While also the fact that you have residences in Sault Ste. Marie, Toronto, and Austin, Texas. So
Yes.
obviously you've succeeded in your endeavors, and you know what you're talking about.
I do. I do.
Where now, and Dance with Your Customers then was a natural progression to Table Talk, and we'll talk about that when we come back, plus more that's going on in your life.
Okay.
When we return with Shari Moss on Mornings with Lou Ann and Tim. Stay with us. So Shari, we were talking
Yes.
about the first book. Your editor
Yes.
was Megan Fitzpatrick.
Right.
And you forged a relationship with Megan that was, I think, unexpected. And it led to others,
Exactly.
and it led to
Great
the
things.
second book.
It led to the second
Tell me a little
book.
bit about that.
Megan is a millennial, and she is a very traditional millennial in the sense that it's that age, the level of work now where she's getting out into finding her place in the world for her career. Her and I spent a lot of time together in the first book, and she really took it to heart. As we mentioned, the first book is really for people who want to get ahead and need that sort of extra wow. This is wow.
Extra wow,
This is
I love that.
Okay? She took the extra wow, and at the time she was working in an office, and the situation she was in, we'll just say, was, you know, less than conducive to these young kids that were working there for them to grow and learn.
A little stagnant.
She brought she brought them out actually to speak to me, and you know, so I could sort of help them based on the first book. What happened is exactly what's in the second book. It has everything to do with what do you do when you have experience and expertise and knowledge, and you're already set. You know, you've made your way. You help others. That's the bottom line. The great people today, especially the ones the young people are following. You know, Tim Ferriss comes to mind. These are people that in part want to help the younger people, bring them up into their passions, into their careers, into their lives. So we started doing that, and till one day we were sitting on the porch in Austin, fabulous, fabulous place. And she said, you know, I have a different relationship with my mother now. Oh, I said, okay. She says, I see her differently. I see her stories she must have and the things that must have happened to her, and I want to learn from that too. This was born, okay?
Table talk.
So, really, it's incredibly essential for everybody to understand. The reason it says hearing the silent fear and bridging the gap, the kids aren't talking, they're holding it in, but they're very, very lost, scared, searching, stuck. One of those or any and all of those. They need to learn from us as much as we now need to learn from them. It's their world. They're taking ownership of where everything is going today, moving in business, commerce, politics, economics.
And
relationships. They're the champions of it now, right, as they move ahead into their adulthood. So what happens when we both come to the table and we talk openly, honestly, and we give them the help they need? We allow them to speak about what it is they could be afraid to speak about their future. And we learn from them too.
And that, I think, is the ultimate message, is that you never stop learning.
Never stop learning. Never.
I said to you before we went on air that I think the best teachers are the teachers who are always open to learning from their students.
Yes.
And also, the interesting thing about Table Talk is it's not just mentoring. It's so much more than that.
So much more. That's the buzzword today, is mentoring. Take that to a whole
Other level.
And really get into, I do workshops, and this is part of what I do as far as, it's my giving back. I volunteer to do them, and I form them and I conduct them, and I work with millennials. And the first thing I make them do is sit down. We go through a process, and I make them sit down and really learn to define their core values, because that's where it's.
I love that part of the book.
You saw
too.
that in there.
The core values,
Yes.
because you examining your own core values is what led you, first of all, to become an author, and then carried you on to the next project, which is now executive film producer.
Yes.
And the message there not only is, once you find those core values, don't be afraid to make a new start, because it's never too late.
Absolutely.
So now,
never too late.
Can you tell me a little bit
Okay.
about this project that's coming, that you've already worked on?
Yes.
Executive producer of a film.
Yes. Okay. So
Love it.
2 years ago, I had the chance to work on, I'm telling you, it was a very, very fun, very cool project. A good friend of mine is a director of photography, Philip Roy, and he introduced me to Philip Guzman, which at the time, he is a director scriptwriter. At the time, he had this fun, it's set in the 80s, and it's a horror film. And it's
That's the best genre.
Can you imagine mid-80s, where we were all about Walkmans, Duran Duran, and horror films, right?
Yes.
So let's take a traditional And it's college experiment, kids gone wrong. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. And we'll add the whole drama and the fun and you know the thing. It was great. So that was done. We just did a premiere in New York City to have a nice showing, do a Q&A, bring some celebrities and press in to sort of talk about it. It was fabulous. So it's on release, on demand, October 2nd.
October the 2nd?
Yes, because it's sort of the October thing leading up to Halloween.
Is it a working title, or do we have a real title?
Sleep No More.
Sleep No More.
Yeah, the distributor, the North American distributor, changed the name. They have license to do that. Fabulous trailer, though. Look it up and watch the trailer.
Where do we look it up on YouTube?
Yes, just Sleep No More trailer. That'll get you where you want to see it. He changed it to that title. It's fun.
October the 2nd.
I have a cameo in it, by the way.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, Shari. I'm going to watch it for sure. And now, in the works is a bigger project?
Much
stop,
big project. I do not stop. Why do I stop? I have an Energy Plus.
All right.
Right?
Will you come back on the show when the other bigger project is?
I will.
We can talk about it more?
Yes. That one is going to be star-studded.
Star-studded.
Yes.
Oh, I want to come on set. I want to fly me down to Austin or wherever you're shooting it, and I want to. Maybe I can have a cameo. Listen, it's been really a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
And tell your Aunt Kathy Chapetta, who was my grade 3 and 4 teacher, that I like her a lot.
I will tell her.
I said hello.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. I will tell her
Thanks
that.
for your time.
Okay.
Enjoy the rest of your summer up here in the Soo. And
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for having me.
A pleasure. We'll see you the next time on TV.
Yes.
And we'll see you right after this.
The sun.
It is so. I'm going to follow the sun.
Yes.
The temperature outside is so comfortable. The sun is so bright. It's a beautiful day in Sault Ste. Marie. Enjoy yourself, Sault Ste. Marie.
Thank you so much for watching us today. We certainly appreciate whenever you can tune in. Don't forget, we rebroadcast this show at 10 o'clock on Soo Online, or not on Soo Online, on YouTube, and also at 4 o'clock.
No, it is on Soo Online.
Is it?
It's on ONNtv at 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and then it goes to YouTube, and where it
say?
lives forever. Luann, we're going to live forever. Like Frankenstein.
Run.
Come back tomorrow. It's Friday. We'll have a great day together again. And then we're all going to have a great long weekend. And then it's back to school and back to work.
Yes, it is. Tuesday morning. Have an awesome day today. Thanks for watching.